Hi guys, I'm Keegan Ghost and this is Aqua Supreme. So in today's video we are going to be talking about the Neocaridina species, the blue dream shrimp. And of course this video will apply to every type of Neocaridina species that you get out there, whether it be the red cherries or the yellow cherries. It is going to apply to them, but I'm specifically going to point out a few things about the blue dream shrimp, what I recognized work with them, and how to bring out their color the best, and what you guys can do to achieve the most bang out of your blue dream shrimp. So starting off, what are the Neocaridina species? It is important to know that there are two types of shrimp, and it is important to do your research about both of them, your Neocaridina and your Caridina. And you also get your Amano shrimp and all those, but I'm specifically talking about these two species, the difference between them. So the Neocaridina species are a lot hardier than your Caridina species. You can easily type that in Google, Neocaridina species, and you will find a lot of them, like your cherry shrimp and of course your blue dream shrimp, and there are a few other. But for now, to know the basics about your Neocaridina shrimp is that they are a lot hardier than your Caridina shrimp. So they can take water changes or water parameter changes and water temperature changes much better. They can handle it much better than your Caridina species can. Starting with the blue dream shrimp, they are these beautiful shrimps, dark blue shrimps that you guys can get mostly anywhere. They are well renowned and they are sold everywhere, so it wouldn't be a challenge to get these shrimp. They are very beautiful shrimp. If you like that dark blue color, definitely I would recommend these guys. Okay, so what size do these shrimp grow to? They grow about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That is going to be 2.5 centimeters to 3 centimeters. Around that mark, that is as big they get, and the babies are as small as. So to tell the difference between the males and the females do get a bit bigger than the males. You will easily see that, and they usually have that saddle at the back of their bodies. That is the easiest way I can tell you guys to see the difference between the males and the females, and that the males do get a bit darker than the females, a darkish, well, a darker blue, a darker dark blue, if you get something like that. So it is important to know when culling your shrimp or removing the ugly ones and putting them somewhere else. If you want to have a shrimp display tank or aquascape, it is important to know that if you do want breeding inside of your tank, you are going to have to leave those darker ones there because they are the males. Going on to tank mates, what fish or what other shrimps can live with these Neocaridina species, these blue dream shrimp? It is important to know that you should not keep your shrimp with any fish that can fit in their mouths. So your bigger fish, such as your angelfish, even your Oscars, those type of fish, keep them away from your shrimp. They will eat them. Tank mates that you guys can keep will be things such as your smaller schooling fish, so your tetras, your smaller tetra species like your neons, your cardinals, your rominos, your lemon tetras, those tetras, your danios, your rasboras, your smaller type of schooling fish, they go perfectly with them. You can keep them with other shrimps, other Neocaridina species, most likely. It's just important to know that when breeding your shrimp, they are going to crossbreed with other Neocaridina species. So if you want that pure strain, that dark blue strain, keep them alone and they will give you that if they came from a pure strain, of course. So it is important to know that. I have heard that you can keep these shrimps with your live bearers such as your guppies, your mollies and your platies, but they do get a bit bigger and can eat your baby or even your juvenile shrimp. So be wary about that. Do it at your own risk, but you can do that. and they can also go with your bristlenose plecos. So there is a wide spectrum of tank mates that you can keep. You can also keep them with snails, but we hate snails on this channel, so definitely no snails. When breeding your shrimp, I would definitely recommend you guys to keep your shrimp alone. Don't house any tank mates, as the babies are small enough to fit in most fish species mouths. So keep them alone if you want to breed them, but if you just want them in a display tank or don't really mind if they don't breed, then you can put them with some tank mates. How can you provide cover for these shrimps? You can add in aquarium plant. You can have some driftwood inside of your tank. They do also feed from that, but we will get to that later on. You can have ornaments in your tank if you want to have that and do not care about the natural side of the fish tanks. You can do that, but things like that where small crevices are created or thick bushes of plants where your shrimp can hide from your tank mates, your other fish species. The care for these Neocaridina shrimp, which is most important when keeping them. So your temperature can vary from your mid 60s to your low 70s, so around the 75 mark and the 65 mark, around those types of areas, anywhere in between that would be perfect for your Neocaridina species. It is best to keep them, I would definitely recommend you keeping them in the low 70s, and in Celsius that is going to be around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, so keep them in around that range. If you do have higher temperatures, it is important to know that your shrimp will grow faster, but that will also lower the life expectancy of your shrimp, and obviously vice versa. If they are in lower temperatures, they are going to take longer to grow, but their life expectancies will increase. Your pH should be around 7, so a very neutral pH, or your high 6s and low 7s. That can also work. Like I said, you can have them in different water parameters, so definitely around the 7ish mark, I would keep them in that if you want to have the most success with these shrimp, and I would keep the hardness of the water at a range of 7. It is important to note that you have to add these shrimps to a cycle tank, so a mature tank where beneficial bacteria has already started colonizing. It is important to keep them or to add them into those types of tanks and not to new tanks. What do shrimp eat? Your Neocaridina shrimp eat? They pretty much eat anything. I hardly feed my shrimp, and they are great. They are thriving in their tank. Some females, I think I have 2 females that are saddled at this moment, so they live and they're happy. But these shrimps do eat algae, they do eat biofilm that grow on your wood. They eat uneaten food that falls to the bottom, so if you overfeed your tank a little, it's not a worry. You got your shrimps for that. Do not overfeed them too much though. And you do also get your shrimp specialty food, so those shrimp king foods, you get those that you can feed to your shrimp that obviously have different benefit in each food source. So if you want to add a bit of something like a GH plus or a mineral booster, a color booster, anything like that, you can definitely do that. Then going into tank size, a good starter for your tank size would be around 5 gallons, and that is going to be 30 liters, more or less. So your 1-foot tanks, I would definitely start out with those tanks. You can keep these shrimp in smaller tanks, but they do not respond well to water changes, water parameter changes and temperature changes, and with a less volume of water, your water parameters can change easier than it would be in more volumes of water. So I would start out with a 5 gallon or a 1-foot tank. And it is always important to know that bigger is better. So what can you keep in your shrimp tanks to help these shrimps live in their natural environments and help them thrive? And that is going to be things such as your live plants, some driftwood, whether it be normal driftwood, your spider wood, your chilla wood, those types of wood, you can keep them in there. You can add leaf matter into your tanks, so your almond leaves, your guava leaves, and you get those small acorn type of things, you can add those in there. And I would also advise you guys to keep sand. If you do want to keep a substrate inside of your tank, you can also do bare bottom, but if you want to do a substrate, definitely sand, because the sand molecules are smaller, so they are more compact, and when you feed your tank and the food falls down and it breaks down, then it is harder to get into the substrate that can cause ammonia to build up. So I definitely recommend a sand substrate over a gravel substrate. For filtration, I would advise you guys to keep them in a sponge filter, or keep a sponge filter in your tank. Use a sponge filter, as they do not have that high amounts of flow and they do not have big intake tubes that can suck up the baby shrimp or juvenile shrimp. So sponge filters are the way to go. How do you breed your shrimp, your Neocaridina shrimp? It is as easy as having a male and a female in a tank, and breeding will take place. It is also important to know that your water parameters have to be right for your shrimp to breed. So keep them in those parameters that I gave you guys, and your shrimps will definitely breed. Shrimp eggs take about 3 weeks to hatch, and from the shrimplet stage to the adult stage will be around 6 months. So they do take around 6 months to grow up to full adulthood, full adult size. The last tip that I'm going to give you guys is, whenever gravel vacuum or siphoning out anything in your tank, it is important to know that these baby shrimp are very small, so you can easily siphon it or suck them out. So keep out for that. I would recommend you guys not siphoning out anything in your tank. Just do not overfeed your tank. There would be no need to siphon out anything in your tank. You do not want to suck up your baby shrimp if you are trying to breed them, so definitely leave that out of the way. And yes guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you found it informative and I hope you like what you saw. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, peace.